is a video of the 2S Hobbyzone Champ I'm building. Got myself a little 4500 kV motor and set up a nice little firewall. I actually pulled this from another plane, a very small radio controlled Eagle, and little ESC. I think it's only about 5 amps, probably the max it needs. And we've got a parts Hobbyzone Champ. I'm going to take and show you a little of that. This is what the stock motor configuration looks like. And this is the new motor setup. And it's really gonna make this thing fly a lot different than a stock Hobbyzone Champ. Should be able to be mildly acrobatic. Trick on all this stuff is getting the balance right. Now I'll decide, once I've got it together, I'll decide on a battery based upon the weight. And we're going to modify the landing gear. We're going to modify the, we've already modified the motor. I'm going to put a Lemon RX DSMX receiver in this. I'm waiting on them to come because they take forever to get over here. And we're going to take and modify the stock tail. Alright, here is the modified tail. I have a couple pieces of 1mm carbon fiber. This will increase the rigidity of the tail, of the horizontal stabilizer and the vertical stabilizer. And this should make a huge difference on the rigidity, on the flyability of the plane. Okay, here we go with the motor installed, the tails installed. See that I had to do some reinforcement on it. Another reinforcement there. I might need a little bit more, but it feels pretty solid now. And here's the motor spinning up. And that's all she's got. I think that'll be reasonably decent. Alright. Next step. I've put the servos in. Made a little servo rail with balsa wood and hot melted these in place. And I used the stock control horns and rods. These are the carbon composite ones, and they worked real nice. And here's the test. And I made it so they just barely got past each other, which was good. This is gonna, as you can see, plenty of throw on the elevator and rudder. Actually, might need a little more on the elevator later, but that's not important. I can deal with that later. All I have to do is just move it down, and I've got it at its widest spot and its widest spot here, and we've got plenty of control on these surfaces. Motor's running beautifully. So my next portion of this is getting everything else together. I might add ailerons to it later, but I haven't decided. Alright, here we go. We got her balanced right there. That looks like it's perfect. Here's the battery. Now don't worry, I'm not using this. I'm not using the top of the fuselage. That's just from a junk one. I just needed it to check everything. So now we've got a 250 milliamp hour battery in there, pretty close to the CG. So I should be able to alter the amount of the size of the battery. I can go with a bigger or smaller one if I want to later. I'm thinking 200 is going to be plenty for this thing, but you don't know until you fly it. And don't worry, I'm not using this wing. I'm going to use a new wing, and this one's got a big crack in it. But this is from a junk Champ, so just wanted to do this. I'm just using it to check balance. And there you go.